What if the silence you hear when you pray is not empty, but listening? And what if the very act of praying, the specific posture of submission you were taught since childhood, was never meant to reach the divine at all? Imagine for a moment that the act of kneeling, of closing your eyes, of begging to a distant figure in the sky, was designed not to empower you, but to keep you powerless. Trapped in a cycle of dependency, feeding a system you cannot see. The ancient Gnostic texts, hidden beneath the Egyptian sands for nearly 2,000 years, reveal a secret that the established powers of history desperately wanted erased. They suggest that Jesus did not teach prayer as a transaction. He did not teach his disciples to become beggars in their own spiritual house. He taught something far more dangerous to the establishment, something far more powerful for the individual. He taught a technique of resonance and recognition called the monad call. For centuries, humanity has been conditioned to direct its spiritual energy outward, to look up, to surrender sovereignty to external forces. We have been told that we are small, sinful, and separate. But the Nag Hammadi library, discovered in 1945, tells a radically different story about the nature of reality and the human soul. These forbidden gospels speak of the Archons, parasitic entities that feed on human worship, fear, and the vibration of subservience. They suggest that what we call traditional prayer is actually a mechanism, an elaborate system constructed to harvest your spiritual energy by keeping you in a state of perpetual lack. The monad call is not a prayer. It is a reversal of the flow. It is a recognition. It is a declaration of identity. It is the ancient method of communing with the source that bypasses the interference of these intermediate entities entirely. When you perform this call, you are not asking for anything. You are remembering who you are. A fragment of the divine itself, temporarily experiencing the illusion of separation. And this is exactly why this knowledge was suppressed. Because a human being who knows they are the source cannot be governed. In this video, we are going to journey into the forbidden wisdom that connects the monad call to the very fabric of your consciousness. We will explore what the ancient texts actually say, the precise mechanical reasons why traditional prayer fails to connect you to the true Creator, and most importantly, how you can use this technique to reclaim your divine birthright starting today. To understand the magnitude of the monad call, we must first descend into the history that was stolen from us. We must go back to a cold December day in 1945, to the desolate cliffs of the Egyptian desert near a town called Nag Hammadi. An Arab peasant named Muhammad Ali al-Saman was digging for nitrate-rich fertilizer when his shovel struck something hard buried in the sand. He hesitated. He feared there might be a jinn or a spirit trapped inside. But curiosity won. He broke the seal. What he pulled from the earth was not gold, but something far more valuable. A sealed jar containing 13 leather-bound papyrus codices, 52 sacred texts that had been deliberately buried by monks from the nearby Pachomian monastery in the 4th century. These monks risked their lives to hide these books because a decree had gone out from the Orthodox bishops in Alexandria: destroy all heretical writings. The canon was being closed. The mind of humanity was being narrowed. Among these surviving documents were the Gospel of Thomas, the Gospel of Philip, and the Apocryphon of John. These were not the writings of madmen or outcasts. They were the advanced spiritual manuals of the early Gnostic Christians, those who claimed to possess the secret teachings given by Jesus only to his inner circle of disciples. Teachings that were never meant for the public mass. At the heart of these texts is a cosmology that explains why the world feels so profoundly broken. Why, despite billions of prayers whispered over thousands of years, suffering remains the default state of this reality. Why good people suffer, and why silence so often meets our most desperate pleas. The Gnostics offered an answer that is as terrifying as it is liberating. They spoke of the monad. The monad is not a god in the way we usually think of gods. It is not a personality. It does not have a gender. It does not have an ego. It does not get angry. The monad is the ultimate source, the silent, undifferentiated unity from which all consciousness emerges. It is pure existence, pure awareness. It is the ocean before the waves. From the monad emanated divine beings called eons, perfect expressions of light and truth. This realm was known as the pleroma, the fullness. But the texts describe a cosmic catastrophe, a rupture in the divine order. An eon named Sophia, representing wisdom, desired to create on her own, without her divine counterpart. In doing so, she produced an offspring that was imperfect, a being born in shadow, disconnected from the pleroma. The texts call this entity Yaldabaoth, the Demiurge, the blind god. Yaldabaoth was born unaware of the true divine realm above him. He was a being of chaos and ignorance. In his arrogance, he looked into the void and declared, "I am God, and there is no other God beside me." This false god, along with his servants, the Archons, fashioned the material universe not as a playground for the spirit, but as a trap. They created human bodies to imprison fragments of the divine light, sparks of the monad itself, within dense matter. This is the crucial distinction that traditional religion fails to make. The distinction between the monad, the true source, and the demiurge, the architect of the material system. The Gnostics warned that the god of this world, the god who demands worship, who requires sacrifice, who is jealous and wrathful, is not the monad. It is Yaldabaoth. And this brings us to the terrifying mechanism of traditional prayer. We need to analyze this not with superstition, but with the precision of a technician looking at a circuit board. When you pray in the conventional sense, you are engaging in a transaction based on separation. You place yourself in a position of lack. You are down here. God is up there. You are small. He is big. You are the beggar. He is the provider. This framework of duality is the primary food source for the Archonic system. The ancient texts describe these entities as inorganic consciousness. They cannot generate their own life force. They are like shadows that need a light source to exist. They must feed on the organic spiritual energy of human beings. Think about the emotional state of most prayer. It is often driven by fear. Fear of death, fear of poverty, fear of punishment. Or it is driven by desire, wanting something you do not have. Every time you pray with fear, with desperate neediness, with that sinking feeling of unworthiness, you generate a specific frequency. You are broadcasting a signal of, "I am not enough." And that energy does not vanish into the ether. It is harvested. It strengthens the very illusion that keeps you trapped. Traditional prayer keeps you locked in this energetic loop, constantly giving your power away to entities that masquerade as the divine. They may answer just enough prayers, provide just enough coincidences to keep you playing the game, to keep you believing that the source of your salvation lies outside of yourself. It is a cosmic casino, and the house always wins, as long as you keep playing by their rules. This is where the monad call changes the entire equation. It operates on a completely different law of physics. It is not a request. It is a frequency shift. The monad call is based on the Gnostic truth that your consciousness, the observer behind your eyes right now, is not a creation of Yaldabaoth. Your body may be made of earth, but your spirit is made of the monad. Imagine the ocean and a single wave. The wave has a form. It has a shape. It lasts for a moment and then crashes. If the wave believes it is separate from the ocean, it will be terrified of crashing. It might pray to the ocean to save it. It might offer sacrifices to the ocean to prolong its life. But the wave is the ocean. Every molecule of water in the wave is the same as the water in the deep. The wave does not need to ask the ocean for permission to exist. It simply is the ocean, expressing itself as a wave. The monad call is the wave remembering it is water. It is the moment you stop speaking to the sky and start speaking from the core of your being. In the Gospel of Thomas, Jesus is recorded saying, "The kingdom is inside of you, and it is outside of you." When you come to know yourselves, then you will become known, and you will realize that you are the sons of the living Father. But if you will not know yourselves, you dwell in poverty, and it is you who are that poverty. This poverty he speaks of is not a lack of money. It is not a lack of material goods. It is the lack of self-remembrance. It is the amnesia of the soul. The mechanism of the monad call is to pierce through this amnesia. When you perform it, you are tuning your internal radio away from the Archonic broadcast station, which plays a constant stream of fear and separation, and tuning it to the original frequency of the source. And here is the secret that the suppression of these texts tried to bury. The Archons cannot touch you in that frequency. The monad exists at a vibrational level that predates their existence. It transcends their realm of influence. When you successfully perform the monad call, you become energetically invisible to the system of control. You slip through the bars of the prison because you realize there never were any bars. There was only the belief in them. But we must address the difficulty. Why is this so hard to do? Why do we naturally revert to begging and pleading? Why is the concept of God outside so comforting, even if it is disempowering? It is because of the gatekeepers. The Gnostics understood that the Archons didn't just build a physical prison. They built a psychological one. They installed defense mechanisms in the human mind. Have you ever noticed that when you try to claim your own power, when you try to say, "I am divine," a voice immediately rises up in your head? That voice says, "This is arrogant." It says, "Who do you think you are?" It says, "You are a sinner." It reminds you of your past mistakes. That voice is not your conscience. It is an implant. It is a program designed to trigger guilt and shame whenever you get too close to the exit. It is a security system meant to keep the livestock in the pen. The monad call is the act of walking past that guard dog without flinching. It is the understanding that true humility is not denying your greatness. True humility is acknowledging that your greatness does not belong to your ego, but to the source that lives as you. It is acknowledging that you are the vessel for something infinite. Modern science, specifically quantum physics, is only now catching up to what these Gnostics knew 2 millennia ago. The observer effect tells us that consciousness alters reality, that the act of observation collapses the wave function into particles. If you observe yourself as a victim, as a separate, small entity, the universe will arrange itself to confirm that observation. If you observe yourself as the monad, as the source experiencing itself, reality must rearrange itself to match that frequency. So how do we move from theory to practice? How do we stop praying to the Demiurge and start communing with the monad? This requires a total restructuring of your internal dialogue. The monad call is not a set of words you recite like a magic spell. It is a stance you take. It is a positioning of your consciousness. The first step is the withdrawal of projection. You must stop visualizing God as an old man, a light in the sky, or any form that is separate from you. You must withdraw all the energy you have sent outward and bring it back into the center of your chest. The Gnostics believed the divine spark, or the pneuma, resides in the heart center not the physical heart, but the energetic core of your being. The second step is the shift from asking to declaring. In traditional prayer, the grammar is always conditional. Please give me. I hope for. If it be your will. The grammar of the monad call is present tense and absolute. It uses the most powerful words in the universe, I am. But this is not the I am of the ego. It is not I am John or I am Mary. It is not I am rich or I am successful. It is the I am of the monad recognizing itself. When you focus on your heart and say, I am the light that illuminates the all, you are not asking to become the light. You are stating a cosmic fact. You are aligning your local consciousness with your universal consciousness. The texts from Nag Hammadi suggest that Jesus taught his disciples to unify the dualities within themselves. In the Gospel of Philip, it says, light and darkness, life and death, right and left, are brothers of one another. They are inseparable. This means that to reach the monad, you must stop fighting the world. You must stop judging good versus evil, me versus them. You must rise to the vantage point where you see that all of it is a play of consciousness. When you practice the monad call, you hold the paradox. You are the silence and the sound. You are the stillness and the motion. You breathe in, acknowledging that the monad is breathing you. You breathe out, acknowledging that you are expanding into the monad. There is no gap. There is no distance to cross. The effect of this practice is profound and immediate. The first thing you will notice is the cessation of fear. Fear requires a self to be threatened and an other to threaten it. When you reside in the state of the monad, there is no other. There is only the one. The energy that you used to spend on worry, on pleading, on trying to control outcomes, is suddenly returned to you. This is what the Gnostics called ingathering. You are gathering your scattered fragments back into a unified whole. And as you do this, the Archonic system begins to starve. It loses its hook in you. A person who needs nothing, who fears nothing, and who knows they are everything, cannot be manipulated. They cannot be sold salvation because they know they are already free. This is why the Roman Empire, under Constantine, worked so hard to standardize Christianity and burn the Gnostic books. An empire needs subjects. It needs people who believe that authority comes from outside, from the emperor, from the bishop, from the church. A religion of direct gnosis, of direct knowledge, undermines the very foundation of hierarchical control. If you can speak to God directly, why do you need the priest? If you are God experiencing yourself, why do you need the temple? The monad call restores your spiritual sovereignty, but it is not a passive act. It requires the courage to let go of the comforting illusion of a parent God who will fix everything for you. It requires you to grow up spiritually, to accept the responsibility of being a creator. Every time you face a challenge in your life, you have a choice. You can fall back into the old programming. You can beg for it to go away. You can look for a savior. Or you can initiate the monad call. You can stand in the center of the storm, connect to the spark within, and declare, I am the awareness experiencing this moment. I am the power that transcends this condition. I am the monad. By doing this, you are not just helping yourself, you are participating in a cosmic process. The Gnostics believed that the ultimate destiny of humanity is the restoration of the pleroma, every spark that awakens, every soul that remembers its true nature, contributes to the healing of the cosmic rupture. You are literally retrieving the light that was stolen and returning it to its source. The more of us who do this, the weaker the Archonic grid becomes. This practice grounds you in a reality that is unshakable, The Archonic system creates waves of chaos in the material world wars, pandemics, economic collapse, to keep you in a state of reactive fear, to keep you vibrating at their level, to keep you begging for safety. The monad call allows you to stand on the shore and watch the waves without being drowned by them. You become in the world, but not of it. You might wonder, how does one distinguish between the ego trying to be God and the true monad call? The difference is in the texture of the feeling. The ego is loud, demanding, and seeks validation. It wants to be special. The monad is quiet, expansive, and inclusive. When you touch the monad, you don't feel superior to others. You realize you are others. You see the same spark trapped in them that is liberated in you. The result is not pride, but profound compassion. So, how do you begin this today? You do not need a temple. You do not need a priest. You possess the equipment right now. Find the moment of silence. It doesn't have to be a long meditation. It can be in your car, at your desk, or before you sleep. Close your eyes and visualize the layers of your identity peeling away. Your name, your job, your history, your body. Let them drop like heavy clothes. What remains? What is the thing that is aware of the silence? Focus on that awareness. Dive into it. That is the thread that leads back to the monad. Rest in that space. And when you feel stable there, let the recognition rise up from your chest. I am the monad. The all came forth from me, and the all returns to me. Say it not with arrogance, but with the quiet certainty of someone waking up from a long dream. Feel the resonance of truth vibrating in your cells. Ignore the doubts that arise. They are just the echoes of the old programming. Keep returning to the recognition. The monad call is your anchor. It is your weapon against the illusion. It is the key that was hidden in the desert for 2,000 years, waiting for you to pick it up. The time of begging is over. The time of remembering has begun. You are not a servant in the house of God. You are the house. You are the dweller. You are the light within the walls. The suppression is ending because you are remembering. The Archons only have power over those who agree to the illusion of separation. Revoke your agreement. Reclaim your voice. Make the call. The silence is not empty. It is you, waiting for yourself.